week one of the fantasy football season. Here's a few quarterbacks. I have his sleeper options this week. The first quarterback, Bryce Young of the Carolina Panthers. Last season, towards the end of the year, Bryce Young was putting up good numbers for this Panther team. And now they actually did draft a real number one wide receiver, McMillan, to the mix here in the NFL draft. The best receiving prospect coming out this season. We know they traded Adam Thielen, Jalen Coker. He's out with injury. Got Xavier Legette, who was an early draft pick last season as well. And this week, a good matchup at the Jacksonville Jaguars, where their defense over the last couple of years has been a bottom 10 unit in all the NFL. So last season, like I said, it was a bad beginning for Bryce Young. Andy Dalton had to come in at times and start at quarterback. But when he came back, Bryce Young, the game slowed down a little bit for him and he played well. So this week with a good matchup and his new number one wide receiver, I know he's a rookie, but still could go out there and do damage, and available in 74% of fantasy leagues. He's definitely a quarterback I have as a sleeper with the good matchup, like I said, and definitely improvement last season. Next quarterback, Russell Wilson of the New York Giants. Russell Wilson, he's bounced around a little bit over the last few seasons. Denver, Pittsburgh last season, and now here with the New York Giants. And he's available in 95% of fantasy leagues. At Jackson Dart, the rookie they drafted, he's been impressive in preseason. He's going to be the number 2, with Winston being the number 3 quarterback. So this is going to be a matchup where I think the Giants are going to be trailing early and often. They're going to have to throw a whole lot. And he's got one of the best receivers in the league already, Malik Neighbors, after just one season last year. So Russ, we know he's a veteran in the league. Last season wasn't a great year for him. He missed a lot of games the first 5-6 weeks of the year. He was out, was Russell Wilson. But this week versus the Commanders, and like I said, a game that could be trailing, he could rack up some points, especially in garbage time. In the third and final quarterback I have as a sleeper, Sam Darnold of the Seattle Seahawks. A lot of people obviously thought it was a fluke last season where he went off with a monster year over there in Minnesota. 4,319 pass yards, 35 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions for Sam Darnold. Now he got a nice $100 million deal for 3 seasons with the Seattle Seahawks. And they got obviously good options. Jackson Smith-Njigba, Cooper Kupp, the rookie Arroyo at the tight end position. We'll see if he gives anything. Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet out of the backfield. And this is a division matchup versus the 49ers, a team he was on a few years ago as a backup as Sam Darnold. So Darnold, like I said, last season his back was against the wall. And if he couldn't get the job done as the starter in Minnesota, he might be out of the league. But now the starter for the Seahawks, he's got a good arm. He's got good options. And he's available in tons of fantasy leagues at 86%. So it wouldn't be surprising to me if he went out there, had a decent ball game as a sleeper option in deeper leagues and 2 quarterback leagues. That's a few quarterbacks I have as sleepers for week 1 of the fantasy football season.